And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For tonight's episode, we're actually doing a year-end review, top 10 films of 2012. With me, I have Charlie with me. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
And with me, I also have Sean. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
And so, anyways, this is something that we've been wanting to do for a while, and now we're just not getting to a chance to go on ahead and do this. So I'm glad to actually have everybody back to do this segment. So with that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and get Charlie to open up with his number 10, and then it'll go to Sean, then it'll go to me.
All right. My number 10, kind of controversial. It had a lot of controversy with it. I mean, it's very diverse. So it's either people like it, people hate it. Fortunately, it also had like the controversy being the tragic shooting in Colorado. So unfortunately, like that, my number 10, I liked it. I had The Dark Knight Rises as my number 10. I'm on the side of the people that enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of people that didn't like it. They didn't like.
Nope.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, sure. Like again, I think the problem is it was coming off the hype that is The Dark Knight, and that movie is like one of the best movies of all time. The Dark Knight is just so good. So it had to try to one up it, which is really hard. I mean, there was a lot of hate for Bane because you couldn't understand him. I thought Tom Hardy was great as Bane. Sure, I didn't like Talia al Ghul. Like how she dies was like the most pathetic way ever. But I liked it. I thought it was great. We got a great Catwoman. I mean, we had Catwoman in the Batman movies since Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns.
Oh,
like
when did the Halle Berry movie come out? Was that before? I'm just saying that one.
Yeah. No, I was talking about fine. Let me say Catwoman in a Batman movie because Catwoman sucked. I watched that movie a while ago. That movie sucked. It was horrible. This one I liked, and I love the vehicles in this. I thought the moped was great, or the bat cycle, and of course his the giant flying vehicle, which was awesome. Like, I mean, it had a great cast to it. Had a lot of good funny moments. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin. I liked the ending. I thought it was a fitting ending.
Quinn from Dexter's in it. Plays one of the cops.
Yeah, briefly. He's a douchebag cop, just like he is in Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, stop that. And he's like, and he just practically almost killed those kids. I'm like, hope you had that on your soul, but it's like, it had a lot of great action sequences in it. Yeah, I get it. It's really long, but I found it to be entertaining. That's why I had it as my number 10. I have the poster for it. I mean, it's just, for me, I liked it, but it's very diverse. So, but yeah, that's why I had to get it in 4K because I'm like I said, no one knows how to make some Batman movies.
I did not like this movie at all. I think I literally that as soon as you could watch this movie. So like we had a midnight show for it at Apex. I worked the midnight show, and then I went in and watched it like after I got off my shift. And I don't know, like you said, it's kind of hard to follow the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
like that was so good. With Heath Ledger as the Joker, it's just like the all around that movie is awesome. I love the cast in Dark Knight Rises, like Tom Hardy, Anne Hathaway. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it. It also, I think we talked about it in a previous podcast or previous show about how like the movie experience could also ruin it. We had some people right next to us that were just talking the whole time. So like, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I literally watched it as earliest as you could watch that movie, and I have not watched it ever since.
I mean, it just had a lot of like controversy with it because right before the movie came out, you had the fateful shooting, which was just, you just kind of had a feeling that someone was like, this movie was going to have controversy, and unfortunately it did. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I like the cast. Again, I thought the cast was great. I thought like the story, I mean, it was really long, and I think sure it was kind of slow at paces, but I loved Anne Hathaway in this. But she was fantastic as a Catwoman. Like, just the one-liners. Like, my mother always told me never to get in cars with strange men. This is in the car. Like, I mean, just like that. And then like just some of the action sequences. Like that sequence where Batman's going to get back into that whole IMAX sequence. I thought that was awesome. The sequence where Batman and the cops were all teaming up to take on Bane and his troops. I thought that was a great action sequence. sure, Matthew Modine character was just a prick, and he was not needed in this movie. Sure, there's flaws of it, but I mean, it was not enough to take away from it. It's just an enjoyable movie. That's why I had that as my number 10.
Okay. I'm going to save what I have to say for the top 10 disappointed films. So, but anyways, let's go with your top 10 for your list, Sean.
So I have another Tom Hardy movie that came out this year or that year. Lawless is my number 10. It's like crime drama. Takes place during Prohibition in Virginia. Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf,
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah,
and then
that guy, I can't remember his name. Guy Pearce.
Was it
Guy Pearce.
Gary Oldman?
Guy Pearce. So
Gary Oldman was in
Gary Oldman in it too. So yeah, stellar.
Foskey or whatever her name is. It's in that too, I think.
I think so. So like stellar cast, stellar acting. It's about 3 brothers who run a bootlegging business out of their bar, and then like a new sheriff comes into town. And he's like, "Hey, I'll let you keep doing what you're doing, but you're gonna have to pay me some money." And they're like, "We were doing fine without you. We're not paying you." So conflict ensues, but it's really good, especially if you like that time period and like crime movies. I think it's highly recommended.
Yeah, I actually have Lawless as my number 2. So
yeah.
So
that's a good movie.
It really is. If you actually think about it, I definitely love the opening scene where we're first introduced into Shia, because Shia actually goes into a Pentecostal house church, and basically they all get this. The parents actually know that he's a douchebag. They all know that he's part of this whole entire bootlegging operation and things like that. But what's funny is this one girl kind of accepts him for who he is and is also washing his feet at the same time. They also kick him out of the church, which I found hilarious. I thought Tom Hardy was the standout in the film. I thought Shia and Tom Hardy both played off each other very well. No one overshadowed anyone. And back then, Shia was actually was like a household name according to how Tom Hardy is, though, too. But now it just seems like to me Tom Hardy's overshadowed him now. But back then, when you look at both performances actually equaled out. And I have to admit, Lawless is probably one of my favorite movies as far as gangster type films are. And also, too, not to mention, I like stuff that's dealing with bootlegging and things like that. So this is definitely right up my alley when it comes down to that. So,
did you ever see it, Charlie?
I have not. It's on my various list of things to see. I know of it. I know who's in it. I know what it's about. I've seen trailers for it. I just haven't gotten around to see it yet.
All right. So this is what I have for my number 10. My number 10 is a horror movie, and it's called Sinister. And Ethan Hawke is in it. Yeah. And I have to say, this is actually a really good movie. I actually got a chance to review it for Halloween last year on the audio only side of the podcast and stuff like that. And that was my first time watching it. There was other movies that I saw during this time that I felt like, okay, I can go ahead and wait for Sinister to come out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever it was at that time. And I'm like, I can always just wait. But then I watched it for the very first time last year. I definitely liked the slow pacing of the film. I liked the introduction into Ethan Hawke's character, and also too, I definitely love the slow pacing of it. And then once the slow tension is built up, that tension is actually released. And also too, it has that creepy vibe, that whole entire paranormal type of investigation type of thing, especially whenever he's trying to write the book about what happened inside that house.
The one they find the videos?
Yeah, that's the one where he finds the videos and stuff.
Fuck. Dude. But go ahead.
Yeah, but actually, he actually moves into the house knowing that something actually happened to that family and trying to investigate it and write a book about it.
Yeah, like I guess I don't know. I guess we can spoil it a little bit.
Yeah,
but like
I'm not gonna watch it. Go ahead.
Scene like where he starts looking at the videos, and then it's like the daughter. I think it's the daughter in every family kills the family. The one with the fucking push mower, and she literally just mows over everyone. I was like, holy shit! It's like, this movie's crazy.
Another thing that creeped me out was the sinister look, the monster itself. Whenever Ethan Hawke is looking at it, and then you see the outline of his face, and then all of a sudden the film starts catching on fire.
Oh yeah.
that part gave me chills to the core. Like, I'm like, okay, so this is what the tone is for. This is what I'm looking at. I can't wait to see more of it. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite movies of 2012. I thought it was really good with the pacing. Like I said, I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm not like I'll watch horror movies, but I'm not like super into them. But that one is really good. Like that's probably one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. Like that and Quiet Place, I really like.
Bagel was awesome.
Talking Babagool?
Yeah, the Babagool.
Oh.
At that time, I have to admit, I did like that film, but the more I watched it and everything over the years, I don't know, it just didn't hit me the way it used to back whenever I first saw the film, and I really wanted to enjoy the film again. It just didn't have that flavor for me to want to invest my time and energy back into it again. For me, I thought some stuff felt forced the second or third watch, but that's just me. I'm glad that you enjoyed it though, man. That's fantastic. That's one of the best things about film. I'm glad that you enjoy that, Tim.
All right, so my number 9, I had the movie Oliver Stone's Savages. This one stars Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's got Taylor Kitsch. Oh, hold on, John. I think the guy was the monster in Sinister.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Here's the thing, dude. I forgot that they actually named the monster in Sinister, so I'm sorry. I'm actually thinking of the Babadook.
Oh, Babadook.
Yeah. I thought I was thinking of the Babadook, dude. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, the Bugaboo was the monster in Sinister. Yes, he was actually hideous. That was like the most horrifying thing that I've seen in Sinister. So yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that.
Okay, so my number 9 was this Oliver Stone Savages, which was based off the book. I forgot who wrote it. I know I read. This is the one few movies that I actually wanted to read the book before I saw the movie. I love the movie ending so much better than the book. So anyway, it stars Taylor Kitsch, Aaron Taylor Johnson, John Travolta was in this movie, Salma Hayek, Benicio del Toro, who's being typecast as Mexican cartel guy or whatever. Blake Lively was in this movie. So again, I love this. I like this movie. It was entertaining. It flowed, like the characters just flowed perfectly from the book. Like I thought Sean was perfectly cast. So essentially it's Ben and Sean, they're very smart. Like they went to like Caltech. They're very smart guys, and they have their own marijuana business. So that, and then the Mexican cartels were interested in it. So they asked them, okay, we want to be partners with you. Ben and Sean said no. And then the Mexican cartel was like, you know what? We don't like no for an answer. So they kidnap Blake Lively character, who is in a relationship with both Ben and Sean at the same time. So essentially it's like a revenge kind of movie in a sense. It's got some great action sequences in it. It's intense, like I said, but Benicio's great in it. Originally, this is the one movie that before Blake Lively was cast, Jennifer Lawrence was attached to play O, the Blake Lively character in Savages, but she dropped out because of scheduling conflicts because she was filming Hunger Games at the time,
which is understandable.
Yeah, which I think is a better choice. And this is also one of the movies where I had a pet peeve. So. Quite out say the opening is a sex scene, like right off the bat. This family and their kids walk in on the opening sequence when I went to see this. I'm like, this one was like, are you kidding me? It's this opening sex scene and you're walking in on this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, how do you not know? This is definitely a hard R-rated movie.
Hey man, kids gotta learn sometime.
Yeah, better way to learn than to
I got another movie on this list where I got another pet peeve, but we'll get to that. But
Underworld?
No, this was what?
Is it Underworld?
Oh no, that's not on my top 10. That's an honorable mention. But no, I like this.
I remember working at the theater when Underworld came out. We had it timed perfectly for when that scene came on.
Oh, what, the Evolution, the sequel? Yeah. I have the because there was another sequel that came out this year in 2012 that's on my list. But no, I like Savages. I think might still be on Netflix. I don't know. I recommend checking it out. Like I said, I read the book and I was like, oh, come on. And then watching the ending in it, and just hearing everybody in the theater freak out. I'm like, oh, they start booing the theater because of the ending. And I'm like, I was just shaking my head. I'm like, I don't know what your problem is. I like that ending, but yeah, it's a good movie. Travolta's great in it. He's a corrupt DEA agent or whatever, but it's classic Travolta. But it's definitely worth a watch because if you like Mexican cartels, like all that kind of that stuff, and Benicio again, Benicius is great. But yeah, Savages is my number 9.
That's real. I like that movie. I can't remember, either you or Tim let me borrow it, and I remember really liking it. It's a good action movie.
Might have been me. I'm not 100% sure.
I can't remember.
It's been a while, but like I said, I thought the casting was great in this. Like the characters from the book to the movie just translated well for who they casted for it, to be honest. But it's a good movie, though.
Yeah, for me, I haven't seen it all the way through yet or anything like that. I have it on. They have it on Netflix right now that you can stream it. So I'll probably wind up catching it later on and watch it again. It's just that I had other projects and other things that got in the way of me watching it. So that's why I didn't get. That's why I haven't really interacted much with this viewing. So
it's all good, but Salma Hayek is very like sinister in a sense. She's very vindictive, very like perfect for the villain.
Oh, awesome! I like Salma Hayek, so I'm in.
Oh yeah, she's pretty bad in this one.
For my number 9, I have The Watch, which I think is a very underrated comedy. I think the movie is really funny.
That's my that's on my honorable mention list.
That's on my number 4.
It's number 4. It feels like we're gonna have the same taste of movies on this one. But yeah, The Watch. Ben Stiller,
Vince Vaughn,
Jonah Hill. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Richard Aduya, which I think he's such an underrated comedian. He is so funny in everything he does. He kind of plays the same character, but it's perfect. But yeah, it's about a neighborhood watch, and they stumble upon aliens invading Costco.
Yeah,
and,
for members only.
Yeah, so like I was kind of like when I was writing this list, I was like, The Watch came out, and I was like, I love this movie. It's so funny. So I started like reading stuff on it. I was like, man, everyone must love this movie. A lot of people don't. And their whole problem was is that it had crude humor and that it was just jokes all the time. And I was like,
that's the whole point.
I don't understand the problem. Right. Yeah.
I mean, the original title was called Neighborhood Watch, but this is right around the time where we had the Zimmerman situation, and that's why they changed the name. I just remember when I think it was right before a kid movie that somebody accidentally at the theater accidentally spliced the Red Band trailer of The Watch to the kid movie trailer, so they got to see the opening sequence where the Richard character talking about going into a sex orgy, and then like, and I was like, oh, I was just like, what part of the trailer was it? Like, I was immediately like, no, what part of the trailer?
Asian housewife alone. She hears a noise. She calls Neighborhood Watch. Then she sucks my dick. Boom! And then Jonah Hill's like, great. I would also like that.
Yeah. It was just great. This see how the cops didn't take these guys seriously. Yeah. And Jonah Hill's like I used to be cop, and he goes in and he's like, yeah, we got to go to stop up at my house. And you see all the guns he has. Hey mom, I'm trying to be get out of my room. Sorry, mom, I'm trying to be a big man. And then the other cool thing is Starlight from The Boys was Vince Vaughn's daughter in The Watch.
Oh yeah, that's a good scene too. It's like, oh, she's my world. He's like, can I go out? And he's like, not looking like that.
Yeah, and then
let's see what you're doing on the internet. Let me see what you're doing. Yeah. Let me see your
and then like Costco's for members only. Like, I thought that was funny. Like, I thought it was a great cast. It's entertaining. Time it's on. I'm watching. Like, especially that their brains are their dicks. Yeah. So and you see Vince Vaughn rip. It's like, did your dad rip your ex-boyfriend's dick out? Yeah, I'll have her home at 10:30. Midnight's fine. Don't be an ass. It was pretty violent too. Some of the violence in this.
One of my favorite movies from 2012 is Universal Soldier. Yeah, Universal Soldier is definitely a good movie for 2012. I definitely enjoyed that one.
Was that like Regeneration or something like that?
Yeah, it was Regeneration. This is like after the first one.
Yeah. But yeah, The Watch was great. It's an honorable mention. I just couldn't fit it on this list because I had so many other ones I liked better. But it's a great movie.
There were a lot of good movies in 2012.
Another thing though too that I really liked about it was, I definitely love the comedy aspect of it, but I also liked it when one of them was like, "So, where's the orgy kind of happening at?"
Oh, it's
yeah.
Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan was Dr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan is at the front of the orgy, and then he had the Lonely Island was there. It was one of the in the orgy. So it's directed by the movie is directed by a Lonely Island guy, and it had and then so the other two were in the orgy sequence. Like I didn't realize, like, oh holy crap, Andy Samberg and the other guy were part of the orgy members. Oh my god!
And then you also have that one Boston song that they all kept on singing through the movie.
Oh yeah, too. You ain't seen nothing
yet. Yeah, you ain't seen. That's my favorite thing that they were doing for since the very beginning of the film was singing that song, and then of course something bad would always happen, and then. I also have to say, the other thing I have to laugh at is the fact that where are their brains located at? And then of course one of the wives said, "Well, guys always think with their dick. They always think with their dick." So one of the comedian that you mentioned, Sean, he goes, "Well, let's just go in and see what happens if I shoot one in the dick and see what happens." Shoots him in the dick.
What is like when he shows back up and he goes, "Hi," after he just listens to, "Hi guys." Yeah, okay, yeah. Their brains are their dicks. I mean, so everybody shoot for their Johnson. That was immediately when Vince Vaughn just rips the guy's dick out. It's just like, yep, it's classic Vince Vaughn. But yeah, it's just hysterical. And Vince Vaughn together. It's just so funny.
To be honest with you, I wish that they would actually make more movies together. To be honest with you, don't get me wrong. I love Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson together, but. Ben Stiller and him did such a good job with this, to be honest with you. I wish they would make another movie of this because I feel like they can actually do something within the Neighborhood Watch, to be honest with you.
Dodgeball 2. Make Dodgeball 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess they were in Dodgeball together.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
White Goodman.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they're on opposite sides. This is the first time they were together on the same side, and then technically, they kind of were in Anchorman in the very first Anchorman, where Buenos Dias bitches, where he was we're the anchor fight, Vince Vaughn, and then Ben Stiller was part of the Spanish the Spanish team. The Watch was great. Yeah, that's such a funny movie. But I just remember the kid during one of the kid trailer movies, the Watch Red Band shirt was spliced to it. And I was like, oh boy.
So let's see here. For my number 9, I got Looper, which is Gordon Levitt's.
Hell yeah, that's my number 2.
Awesome, but that's something that I really have to say. Looper was a great movie. This is before Bruce Willis was just acting as Bruce Willis. This was him actually being fully developed into a character and everything. This was him giving it his all. I love the originality behind it, where you actually have to go in time to stop something from someone from killing his future self or his past self. And then also, too, you also get to see what happens whenever somebody actually does kill him in that universe, where they actually get zapped into coins, which I found really fascinating with that outlook. The whole entire special effects is really good. The action is really good. The chemistry between Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is excellent. So I have to say Looper is
one of my favorites too.
Really one of my favorites.
Yeah, like I love that movie. Like it's like an original idea. It's because a lot of times a lot of stuff now is like remakes or based off of the books. This is original idea. I really like the director, Rian Johnson. Even though now he's kind of made some shitty movies, but like before this, like I really liked Brick, which he did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well.
That was a good movie.
Brick.
Yeah, Brick, and I've seen Looper too. It's just, I think I just couldn't fit in any of my lists, but I liked it. It was entertaining.
Looper's like one of the perfect like sci-fi noir type movies. I mean, I love the new Blade Runner, but this is like really good too.
I mean, it definitely fits under that sci-fi noir, like the giant. It's a good concept about you having to take out your former self. I mean, that's
right.
And then the beginning, like narration, like when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like kind of narrating, like I just love like crime movies where like the main character, like Sin City, how they're kind of talking as they're doing stuff. Like I just love that part in different movies. Fun fact about this, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but so like when they did the movie, I guess this is gonna make Bruce Willis look kind of bad, but Bruce Willis refused to put on makeup to look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt had to put on makeup to look more like Bruce Willis. That's why he kind of looks funky in it, and it's because Bruce was like, I'm not changing how I look. So Gordon-Levitt, being like the younger actor, had to take the fall for that.
Okay.
And it's a very young Emily Blunt in this one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she played the mom. Yeah, would have been funny if Krasinski was in this movie too.
But
that
yeah,
one
this
scene
is
was cool
definitely
where the one guy, how he didn't close his loop, and so his former self is old, running around, I guess current time, but all of a sudden like his hand falls off or his fingers start falling off because they're actually killing him in the future. Like, just the effects are really cool, like you said, John. Like, it's just an all around awesome sci-fi movie.
Definitely. Okay, so what do you have, Charlie?
All right, my number 8. I I have the Hunger Games. This was just a great movie. It's like I read the books for this. These are actually the young adult movies, like books, that I actually enjoyed. And the books are a little bit more violent than the movies itself. Like what I read in the Catching Fire book, there's a lot of decapitations, heads chopped off. Like, it's a lot more violent than these movies. But again, I thought this was a great movie. Jennifer Lawrence was great as Katniss. It was a cool story about having the districts fight each other, and it's just really cool to see this translate to the theaters. I think it was just a great movie. It's got a great cast. Like, Haymitch was great, and Woody Harrelson was great. Elizabeth Banks, even Lenny Kravitz was great as Cinna. Unfortunately, I never knew what was going to happen to Cinna because, again, I read the books. But I thought it was just an entertaining movie. It's one of those like young adult movies that didn't piss me off or like looked ugly to watch, like Twilight. This is so much better than Twilight. This is more entertaining. It's not, and it has much better dialogue, and it's intense. Like, I mean, you have a great antagonist in Donald Sutherland as President Snow. I mean, it's a great start to the series. Like I said, I had to have that on my list because it was just a great movie. I just remember liking it so much. But yeah, that's my number 8, Hunger Games.
Okay.
I remember I watched it. I thought it was fine. I never saw any of the sequels or anything. No.
Me either.
Catching Fire is the best one. The sequel, Catching Fire, is the best one.
Is there a Is there a like a Japanese or Korean movie?
Yes,
that's similar
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale is
I know a lot of people recommend that to me, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I
gotta be honest with you. Battle Royale is fantastic. If you're looking for something similar to Hunger Games, but a lot more raw, a lot more edgier and bloodier, Battle Royale is definitely the way to go. And plus, it's also a good foreign film. So, but
check it out.
What were you going to say, Charlie? And then after that, I'll give you my.
Oh no, that's all good. I mean, I just really like this movie. It is okay. the casting just flowed from the book. I mean, and Josh Hutcherson, Peter McMahon, there's so many jokes my family and I would make about how his height. About, man, everybody's hot. Is a lot taller than Peter in this movie, and then to find out Josh Hutcherson was in The Disaster Artist, and him playing the character Denny, which is like the creepy kid from The Room. I thought that was it just fit him, but again, it was just a good start to the series. Catching Fire is still my favorite one out of the series because it's more intense. But like I said, I just thought it was a great movie.
Okay. You see, for me, I only watched the first one. I felt like I didn't need to see any more after that one. I thought it was fine. It's just didn't gravitate towards me like I wanted to. Don't get me wrong. I felt like, okay, they told the story that it needed to be told in the first movie. I understand there's 2 more books, but for me, that's not something that I want to see.
The sequel is like a much better than this one. I mean, you got Philip Seymour Hoffman is in that one. Really? I think you had
Woody Harrelson, right? Or is that in the third?
Woody Harrelson's in all of them.
Right.
Elizabeth Banks is in all of them. Lenny Kravitz is in the first 2. I think Jenna Malone joined them in the second movie. They had I think the guy that played from in the latest Bond movies, Felix Leiter. Yeah, he's in it. He's in the next few. And then I think Julianne Moore joins in on the third one. So they get some really big cast, like, and then I think Foggy joins in the third one from Daredevil. And then I can't think of her name. She was in Natalie Dormer. Yeah, she joins in the third one as well. Like I said, they get more intense as they progress. Like the second one still is my favorite, but they get more intense as they progress. So I would at least watch the second one. If you don't want to watch after that one, you can't. But the second one is the best one.
All right. So what do you have on your next one, Sean?
I have number 8. I have Django Unchained.
Damn it!
Awesome.
That's my number one.
You see, I love that movie. But I don't have that on my list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was my number one.
Was it?
Yeah, like I said, I had like that one. I was edging between that and something else. But man, go ahead, Sean.
I don't know. It's just like awesome cast.
Yes.
Like it's one of those movies that I can just put on to, like doing stuff like good dialogue, good action. Jamie Foxx, Christopher Waltz, just
Leo.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson is super funny. Like it's just it's one of the perfect. If you're into action movies and you like westerns, or even if you don't like westerns but you like action movies or just movies with good dialogue in general,
it's like a spaghetti western. So it's not a western, but it's got western elements in it. But I mean, Django is just so good. I mean, that's why I had to have it as my number one. Like the casting was great. Leo was fantastic. There's a sequence in it where he flat out cuts his hand, and that was not planned. And he's still acting with like the sequence where he smashes his hand on the skull. He cuts his hand. He's still acting. And it's just like I mean, Leo was great in this. I mean, physics be damned in this movie. Like the sequence for like bye Miss Laura, when they said, go say bye to Miss Laura. I bye Miss Laura, and she just gets shot. She just goes flying for the side.
That made me laugh my ass off though. Like, every single time I see that scene, I always wind up laughing, and I have to go back, rewind it, and play it again.
Yeah, the sequence that made like I saw this twice in theaters, like twice in 1 week. Because I just got home. I just finished my fall semester of my freshman year in college, and we went to my family and I. We went to the movies afterwards because the new theater just opened up near us, and this was the IMAX theater. So my mom and my sister went to go see Les Mis. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going Django. My dad, my brother, and I were seeing Django, and the sequence were the Bagheads when the Jonah Hill appearance, the one where Don Johnson and all of them try to ambush the dude. And all of them have the white hoods on there, the white supremacists. And then all of a sudden, God damn, I can't see in this thing. And then they're just having the huge conversation, bickering about the mask. It's like, well, who came up with the damn mask? I don't know. It was your wife, but she sucked at it. It's just that they're just bickering with each other.
Right.
The theater is just this cracking up. Like the whole theater just starts crying, laughing. It's like, because the sequence is just so funny. Like you didn't expect it. And Jonah Hill's masks rips. It's like, do you have another mask? No, we don't have another mask. I was just asking. Okay, let's just say the mask sucked. All right, the mask sucked. How about we go no mask this time, and the next time we do mask, well, fuck you guys.
It kind of reminds you of South Park and like, screw you guys, I'm going home.
It's exactly the sequence was just so funny. And then you find out it's just all a trap where you see Django and all them in the background, this, that. I mean, this movie's funny, but also has some really intense moments. Like when the dogs kill that guy, kill one of the fighters because he didn't want to do it. Like that scene was intense. I know I wrote a paper, did a comparison paper between this and Unforgiving in one of my film classes, and I was doing this two scenes and this. But no, Django is my number one. It's just, and then the other time I saw it, Sean, was when you invite me. He's like, "Yo, want to go see Django?" So I went with you and Brian and Melissa, and we all saw it. And after we saw it, like I came out, I admit it, I already saw this movie,
Yeah.
and then
I saw it yesterday or something like that. I'm like, what the
Wait,
hell?
because I saw it. My dad told me not to mention it because I want to see it twice because I want to hang out with you guys. But it was well worth it. And then
Right.
Tarantino's appearance was the other highlight too. And one of the guys, like, and once I heard him say, go get that dynamite, I was like, oh God. Because I know Tarantino's going to die because Tarantino died in his movies in the most gruesome way possible or whatever. So when I heard him get the dynamite, I'm like, okay.
There we go.
and him try to speak with a southern accent, and then Django just shoots him and he blows up. That was another part where I just cried laughing because I knew that was going to happen.
Let's see.
Also,
I love the soundtrack to it. I remember
Yeah.
downloading the soundtrack first before seeing the movie, and I actually had a screener copy at the time that someone actually sent to me, everything from one of the movie review websites, and I got to watch it, and I just remember falling in love with the film. I thought the film was really solid. I thought Christoph Waltz was probably the best thing about it, aside from Leonardo DiCaprio, things like that. And then, like Charlie mentioned, where Leonardo DiCaprio just cuts himself on an accident with the glass. I thought that was good. Then the dark humor in it was fantastic, though, too. I'm a sucker for dark humor.
This movie is just great. I mean, Leo was like that, and Sam Jackson was good too in his minor role. But and then maybe anytime I see Sam Jackson in an R-rated movie, I just count how many times he's going to drop the MF line. I think he only said it twice in this movie. But again, in the sequence where bye Miss Law, when she gets shot and just goes flying, that sequence is just so funny. And then him taking out Walter Goggins. Oh yeah, that's right. You're going to aim for my nuts. And then just shoots him right in the nuts. And then the shootouts were great in this too. Like the shootout after Christoph Waltz is like, I'm sorry, I couldn't oblige something. He kills Calvin Candy. And it's just like when I saw Leo's like, oh, Leo is so good in this movie. But it's just, I mean, Leo's just that type of actor. And he's really found his niche. He can work with any director. Well, it'd be Scorsese, now currently Tarantino. I mean, he's like the two Tarantino movies I've seen him in, he was fantastic in. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's one of my all-time favorite movies because it's just so good. Mm-hmm. He was fantastic in it. And then he was great in the small role in this one too. But the action sequences, the shootouts were awesome, and
I love the shootouts, especially in the small
violent.
town.
It's violent. I mean that shootout where him dodging behind the guy and the guy's getting shot at, and you see this this battlefield blood just splurt out it's just blood splatters everywhere, and it's just an intense sequence. But it's just because it's kind of funny because you're going to Tarantino. It's so over the top, but this is Tarantino. So you were expecting something else when it comes to Tarantino, then I don't know what to say. But
another thing, too, that I want to mention is this. They actually made a Django Unchained cereal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they had to ban it because of how racist it actually is.
Mm.
Because you know how Lucky Charms, they have different types of designs, different types of things that represent the leprechaun. Mm-hmm. And this one, they have whips, guns, spurs, and cowboy boots. And I'm like, it's like, no wonder why they decided to ban that. But get this, you can actually, how I found out about that was through Screen Junkies, back whenever Django Unchained came out. And I was like, no wonder why that got banned. But
and then the funny thing is they have Django showing up in A Million Ways to Die in the West. As one of the end credits sequence, he shows up. It's like, yo, I hear people die at the fair. And it's like, and he just randomly shoots a guy. He goes, what the F? Where are those white women at? And that's a small appearance by him. And that was like an unexpected sequence after A Million Ways to Die in the West. But no, and then the other interesting thing too, I found this out a while ago, but because since they put the Hateful Eight on Netflix, there's an extended cut. There was rumors of an extended cut of Django potentially going on a much longer version of Django, and I'm like,
it's already a long movie.
It is,
right?
And I'm like, okay, but like I said, this is one of the Tarantino movies I'm waiting to get in 4K, that and Glorious Bastards. They need to release those in 4K, and if we're going on the hashtag restore the Snyderverse, hashtag release the whole bloody affair, which is the Japanese cut of the original Kill Bill, because Kill Bill was one movie, one long movie, and but then they split it to two, and then that whole sequence for the bride taking out the bodyguards and stuff. The reason that was in black and white was to avoid the censors, because the original movie is NC-17. That whole sequence is color.
Damn.
That whole and that thing is intense. So there's a lot of stuff. That's the whole why I haven't bought Kill Bill, because I've been waiting for that cut. Because it's supposed to be one movie, but like, that's why I haven't bought Kill Bill in any of the formats yet, because I've been waiting for years for that. So instead of
start the hashtag Kill Bill.
I wrote on somebody else. I think on my buddy on Cole's
right.
page. Hashtag, restore the Snyderverse is great, but we really need is hashtag release the whole bloody affair. But no, Django is great. That's why it was my number one. It was like I have 3 movies I was trying to figure out what would be my number one, but no, Django is just so good. I just had to have it as my number one.
Definitely. Let's see, Rossi.
We're on 8, yeah. I think we're on your yeah.
Okay, so my number 8 is going to be Dread.
Oh, damn it. That's my number 4.
But Dread is one of my favorite movies. I remember going to see this movie when it first came out. It had Yep, that's it. And of course, Karl Urban in it. And let me just say this. I love the stunts in it. I saw this movie in 3D. The 3D effects definitely stands out when you're watching it, because at first I'll be like, it's 3D. It's not going to stick out as much, because I've seen 3D movies where they hype it up. But the special effects for the 3D was really good at the time. And I like how it's this thing. Basically, you're having a fight. I think of it as a video game type thing instead of a comic book based movie, because think of it like this. You're going up the stairs trying to get to the main boss, the person that's in charge of this drug operation, but you have to cut through every single other person to get to her, to this big kingpin boss. And this movie is fantastic. Yes,
like
the Raid.
It's like this is a more US version of the Raid, essentially.
Exactly. But the stunt work really works. Karl Urban as Dredd was really good. I'm glad that they didn't make him remove the helmet, opposed to how Sylvester Stallone played Dredd, which is like very one-dimensional. With him, I felt with Karl Urban, I feel like I got more of the Dredd aspect that I liked from seeing Dredd, and it felt more like the comic book feel to it that I wanted to get from the Sylvester Stallone movie. And man, the action sequences are good. You're wondering how are they going to blast through this whole entire building to fight all these other gangsters coming at them. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I had this at 4. This movie's awesome. I mean, Karl Urban is fantastic as Dredd. This is one of the ones that critics loved. And usually I'm like, what? Critics like this movie? They don't usually like anything good like that I enjoy. Dredd was great. Like the opening sequence, like you just see him getting his gear on. You briefly see his face, but not much. Like it's very like shaded, like that's intentional. But the action sequences were great. I mean, Lena Headey as Mama. I mean, perfect. Like she's very vindictive. Perfect villain. I mean, just the action sequence and the gun effects too were just awesome. And then his partner and like this, like the partner realizing like. It's like saying, rookie, why did you do that? Well, I already failed because they stole my gun. And then the end of it is like, she passed. I mean, it's just like this not, but the action sequences, again, them going up levels, this nonchalant, like taking all of these guys. I mean, it's violent. Like, and the great part of it is the slow-mo effects. Slow-mo is the drug that they take, and then you see everything in slow motion, and you see Dredd coming in slow motion, and this like it just adds more to the movie, and then it's just great. That's why I had this as 4. Anytime it's been on Epix a lot lately, so anytime it's on, I'm watching it, and it's just like, and then it's very reminiscent of the Raid, which I don't have in my top, but it's an honorable mention because the Raid is essentially that is a SWAT team goes in to take out this top mob boss, and they find out, so they lock down. And then the action sequences in the Raid are just absolutely balls to the wall, insane. Like it's very hardcore. Like the main guy in it, I forgot his name. I'm gonna pronounce I can't pronounce his name. I think it's Ikawa. I think it's Iko Uwais. He's a great action guy. I mean, he was one of the reasons I was excited for the Mile 22. which starred Mark Wahlberg and is directed by Peter Berg. I'm not going to get into that because it was very underwhelming. But the action sequences in that were great. And then I think that Joe Talisman's also in this one as well. He's I think he's Scorpion. I think he's Ice, the Ice guy in Sub-Zero and Mortal Kombat. But no,
Okay.
Dredd's great. Yeah, Dredd. That's why I had that as my number 4. Is just the action, the casting was great. I mean, we need more. That's the problem. Nobody and then they keep rumor that he's going to be doing more. That's been in the work for years.
I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't seen it now.
Oh man,
It's really underrated, to be honest with you.
Dude,
I
it's
mean,
awesome.
like Charlie said, critics loved it, but here's the thing: the PR for the movie that's why it didn't make that much money at the box office, because the PR department really screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah,
To the point where nobody was really interested in even seeing it. Matter of fact, I remember for it to be a comic book based film, I think Image Comics, I forgot who actually puts out Dredd, but for it to be a comic book based movie, it didn't do that great at the box office. And I remember going to the theater, and it was just me and an acquaintance of mine that went, and there was hardly anybody in our theater.
yeah.
I'm like, this makes me sad.
I didn't see it. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I was at college at the time, so I rented it. No, Sean, you gotta. I think it's if we're still like linked on my Vudu account. I think I have it digitally. I redeemed it. It's only available on Vudu for me. But no, there's so essentially the description of it. The America of the post-apocalyptic future is an irradiated wasteland, a vast ultra-violent world where criminals control the mean streets. Ultimate law enforcers like Dredd and his new partner Anderson are judges. The only force battling for justice. Dispatched by the central authority, the judge's target is Mama. A ruthless boss bent on expanding her criminal empire through sales of slow-mo, a dangerous reality-altering drug. With Dredd calling the shots, the two judges declare full-scale war on crime in this unrelenting and brutal 3-dimensional thrill ride. It was awesome. Like I said, if we're still linked on my Vudu, Sean,
I'll check it out.
definitely watch it. It is just the action is just awesome, and just Carl Urban is perfect for Dredd. I mean, it just fits him, and it's and then the action sequences, you're right off the beginning, you see Dredd in action. It's so much better than the Stallone one.
Yeah. You don't have Rob Schneider doing a bunch of one-liner jokes and stuff like that compared to the 90s
Making
one.
copies.
Making copies in the copy room. Or please
We're
dispose
walking
all
the shower tonight. But no, definitely watch it, Sean. The action is just it's great. It's a great movie. That's why it's my number 4.
Definitely check it out.
Okay. So what do you have, Charlie?
Oh, my number 7. Okay. My number 7, I have the Ryan Reynolds, Denzel Washington action thriller Safe House. This movie's great. I think we saw when the trailers came out for it, I was hyped for it. And then it was, I think when we saw Contraband, Sean, during the police sneak of that's when we got the trailer for it. Man, this movie was awesome. It's again, this was Denzel, this being a badass. He was a badass in this movie. Ryan Reynolds was great in it because this was before he became Deadpool. This is pre-Deadpool. And you don't see Ryan Reynolds do many dramatic roles like this, but he's great in it. The action's great, has some cool twists in it. But then again, I go to see Denzel play Tobin Frost. Has anybody seen this movie?
Yeah,
I have.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I don't need to describe it, but yeah, it's great. The action sequences are just awesome, and Denzel's just a badass in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Especially whenever they tried to do the interrogation scene where they're trying to torture him.
Waterboarding or whatever.
Yeah, trying to waterboard him.
Yeah, and then it's intense. The whole movie's intense. The whole them breaking into the safe house sequence is intense, and then the car chases are awesome in this. They're filmed not shaky cam or cuts, random cuts. These were shot pretty well, and and I remember seeing it, and this was a fun movie to clean because the soundtrack was pretty cool in it.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, so that's my number 7.
Thriller.
Yeah, it's good movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, if you're Ryan Reynolds or Denzel fan, they had they had really good chemistry. Didn't really care about the government agents, but I did like the line that Denzel tells him, if the FBI tells you you've done a good job, we'll take it from here. You're fucked. So, and that's essentially what it pretty much it is. And this is Ryan Reynolds like, I'll take it from here. So it's just like, and then the ending was cool. Like I was hoping they can expand more on it, but yeah, guess not. But no, like I said, I thought it was a great movie. That's why it's my number 7.
Okay.
Really good. I have for my number 7, Wreck-It Ralph. Grew up as a video. Oh, I am a gamer, so having Wreck-It Ralph come out was just like I felt like it was a love letter to anyone that's played old school video games, new school video games. Fun movie, fun soundtrack.
Yeah.
You can, if you have kids, you can watch it with your kids, and it's just an all around just great fun. No high stakes, just a good animated movie. Like
it's better than the sequel.
I never saw the sequel. Only saw the first one.
You don't really need to.
I don't need to. Okay, good.
I mean, if you want to, if it's on Disney Plus, and like I said, this one I watched Wreck-It Ralph before I watched the sequel, so you don't need to rip on me for this one. Right? Again, like I saw this one. It's not on any of my list. It's entertaining. The sequel, I don't think there was really need for it. I mean, they're just trying to make it current because of the whole modern day of the internet and everybody jumping in. I think it's got Gal Gadot in the sequel, and has all the Disney princesses too.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really cool idea. Just like when the video games turn off, they all just have their own little virtual world to live in.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I just didn't fit any of my list, but I definitely watched this one before the sequel. Sequel I didn't think was necessary.
Oh, you're muted, John.
You're muted, John.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Still trying to get used to the mic. Okay. So, but yeah. Anyways, like I was saying when I was muted, I actually saw this movie. Not when it was released in theaters or anything like that. I saw it on DVD, and I wound up loving it. I loved the whole entire aspect of trying to teach kids something, and there was a meaning behind it. I thought the whole entire thing between Penelope and Wreck-It Ralph was really good. I laughed my ass off through the movie. I thought it was really cute. The second movie had some good aspects to it, but not as rememberable as what you would actually get from the very first Wreck-It Ralph movie.
It was just a lot of cool concepts. It just wasn't executed properly. Like the whole exploring the internet, I think that was cool, but I just don't think they just didn't really work out.
See, I like the eBay scene from the second one. That was actually funny. And they're them trying to learn what spam is, and then of course Wreck-It Ralph is over there looking, and of course he's on YouTube, so he's trying to say, he's like, I wonder what the comments section is, and I was like, don't look at the comments section. But that's one of the things that I really liked about the second one. Now, the first one, I loved the whole arcade game thing because I grew up in the arcade area back in the 90s and early 2000s and stuff like that. So I gravitated towards that. And I remember just going to an arcade and just having a good time. And that's what I felt like when I was watching Wreck-It Ralph. I just felt like I was just going in there, putting a token into the arcade machine, and just having a 2.5 hour movie of me watching Wreck-It Ralph or playing Wreck-It Ralph. So that's what I got out of the very first one. So I definitely had a good time with it. It just didn't make my list, but it's definitely a good movie. So let's see here. On my next one, I have Skyfall for my number 7. And
that's my number 3. That's my third.
Skyfall for me is one of the best James Bond movies aside from Casino Royale. But still, this movie is really good. I love the action scenes with it. I also feel like this one has like a little bit of a Hannibal Lecter kind of feel to it, especially when you're dealing with the villain in a sense, because he has that kind of villainous kind of scheme like Hannibal Lecter minus eating brains and everything, but he has that very menacing kind of feel to him, to where you actually feel like he's very haunted by Daniel Craig's really haunted by this guy, to the point where matter of fact, Daniel Craig is probably really dark in this film compared to Casino Royale, because we're just first discovering this version of James Bond. And this one, his character's a lot more developed and a lot more fleshed out.
Yes.
But I feel like this is probably a little bit more darker than what we used to with our James Bond, but it was fantastic.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
So like 2 things that I really liked about this movie. One, I felt like Bond in a lot of these movies he seems like indestructible or that he's like perfect. In this, he does mess up a lot. Like when he has to save the girl, the Bond girl, he tries to shoot like the apple off her head or something off her head, and he misses. And the bad guy's just like, well, and then just shoots her. So he fails. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Then I think the Javier Bardem is the main villain, right?
Yes.
Right.
His monologue when you meet him, I think hands down is one of the best villain monologues like ever. Like him talking about the rats and just like his facial expressions and how he uses his hands is just really good. Like me alone, that scene like sells the movie to being one of the. It is my favorite James Bond movie.
Skyfall is my number 3. I saw this in college. Like I went with Joe to go see this, and it's funny because my history professor at the time was in the same theater as we were, and we went to go see this, and then so that's how I was able to bond with him over the new James Bond. It was great. Like to compare it, because we had Casino Royale, then we had the god awful piece of shit of Quantum of Solace. To go from Quantum of Solace to Skyfall, better directors, Sam Mendes, perfect to direct this movie. This movie's awesome. The action sequences, like the opening sequence is intense. Yeah. And then my dad didn't really care for the opening theme. I liked it. I thought it was great. And then won an Oscar from Adele, Skyfall.
Yep.
The action sequences were great. Javier Bardem was fantastic as the villain Silva. Like, I mean, he was great in this. Like and then the sequence where he's like, "Oh, we're going to go over your test scores." Or before then the interrogation sequence where he's doing the test. It's like M, and then James Bond's like bitch, like just straight like how he hated M, and then Javier Bardem's like, okay, like him going over his test scores, and I was like, you did this, you failed. Like so like mommy, like you came here unprepared, untrained, like knowing you're about to die. Mommy was very bad, just like that. And and then the random like him like touching his legs, like kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was funny, and then that whole sequence where like that sequence.
He was about to get down and dirty with Bond.
I know.
I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and then the sequence where she was out there, and then I think Bond missed. It's like, oh, too bad, I win. Like, and then it was like, and then Bond's reaction, that was a bloody waste of scotch. I kind of had a feeling Bond knew that was going to happen. Hence why he had the tiny radio on him like the whole time and that. And like, it's like, oh, the latest by Qbert, or Qbot or whatever. And then the action sequence where he's chasing Javi after Silva escapes the train station while he's going to go to the hearing that M's going to, that whole the train sequence, awesome. Like it was just a great movie. And then we went from crap to spectacular. And not many movies can say you did that, because I had a low like I was really expecting a lot from this movie because it just looked great. It looked entertaining, and it was 2 hours. For me, a Bond movie's got to be 2 hours, not an hour and a half that Quantum of Solace was, which just wasn't really a movie. It was just a farce. Like we discussed that in our worst movies of 2008, John, and Quantum was one of them. Yeah, to get from Quantum to this, and just how great just the performances were great. Ralph Fiennes was great as the new M, which was cool, and then and it set up, and I thought, and then the sequel I thought was pretty decent too. But this, speaking of Bond, we got the new one in October. I'm pumped.
Me too. I'm excited for that one.
That movie's gonna be epic, and I think like I said, I mean, I'm already sold on it. But Skyfall is, if anybody hasn't seen Skyfall, stop whatever you're doing and watch it. It's a great Bond movie, and it's just a great movie too. And it's action packed. It's got funny lines. The gadgets were cool. I like the gun that the grip palm, that it's a palm reader, so that only Bond can shoot it. I thought that was awesome, and I liked Q. I'm like, what? You didn't think we're gonna have exploding cars or exploding pens, like him taking shots at the previous Bond movies? I thought that was pretty funny too. Yeah, we don't do that here. That's why it's my number 3. It's just a great movie. Like I said, that's one of the ones I was trying to figure out. Should that be number 1? Should something be higher? But no, it's a solid 3 in my top 10. It's great.
Okay.
All right. I think my next one, my number 6, I had the Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum comedy 21 Jump Street as my number 6.
That's really
This movie's funny. Like I said, I mean, there was a lot of people were scared from this transition from the TV show, which wasn't a comedy at all. It's a drama starring Johnny, a very young Johnny Depp. To translate that to a comedy, there was a lot of like the skepticism for this. But when you go see this movie, it's hysterical. Like I said, the chemistry between Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill was just there. It was just, you could see it. I don't like Channing Tatum.
This made me like Channing Tatum.
I liked him in this movie because he's an idiot, and this is the whole, like, you have a very young Dave Franco. This is the first time I saw him in this. I didn't recognize him until now on Superbad. Young Brie Larson was in this movie. You had Rob Riggle in this movie, and then Johnny Depp and the other guy from this show.
Ice Cube. He's probably one of the best people.
Yeah, Ice Cube, the captain.
Rain Jesus.
And then Dakota, I think Dakota Johnson was in this movie too. She was one of the cops. This movie was great. I mean, the comedy was hilarious. Like the fight sequence in the at the house. What, Scott? What? And he's like, and then he's like, when did I get stabbed? That's awesome. And this movie just had like there's so many funny lines. And then, however, I just like this is a great movie. The sequel is so much funnier because we already got that, and then the sequel is playing off itself, and then get Ice Cube is just great, and it's just the no bullshit captain, like infiltrate the dealer, find the supplier, and like this straight up, and it's like, yeah, we put this flow chart together. Are you boys throwing a party? No. Was like you said, no alcohol, and then the principal, Jake Johnson, he was funny in this too. I mean, this movie is just hilarious. And then seeing Rob Riggle get shot in the dick.
It's like, it's over there. I think we put it back together.
And he's like, please, can you put it back? And he's like, It's like, I want to pick it up with my mouth. And he's like,
hands are tied.
Dave Franco is like, I was supposed to go to Berkeley. Like, I mean, it's him, and then them high on the drug. It was just funny. This movie's just funny.
And then also too, the Peter Pan skit though was actually.
Oh yeah. It's like, you want to know it's like how you guys look like a 40-year-old. That's how I know you, like, from that shit you pulled out on the play. Like, that's how I know you boys ain't cops. Here, I sold these guns from my dad's office. Why don't you shoot them? And they just shoot them like that. It's like, you ready to be badass motherfuckers. It's like, man, I thought this one had like a lot more explosions. And then the running gag is stuff you think would explode doesn't explode.
Oh, yeah.
Until the end, like, you figured a box of chickens were gonna explode and it doesn't, and then something finally explodes at the end. Like, I mean, this movie's funny. Like, like I said, I another one of the highly recommended, but this one's great. Sequel's just as funny, if not better. Like, I like the sequel a lot better than this one, but that's not to say this movie's not bad. This movie's great. It's hysterical. Like, it's so funny. It made me like Channing Tatum. And then I just remember the promo they did for the sequel. This is when Jean-Claude Van Damme was doing the Epic of Epic Splits, of him doing the video of the two moving trucks, and Van Damme can do the splits. So Channing Tatum felt like doing it on set. So he had the Jean-Claude Van Damme long hair. And then he was on these two like catering carts. And then all of a sudden they start moving the carts away from each other. And the next thing you know, the next cut, you see Channing Tatum holding his nuts like, oh my God, I just tore my groin because he's trying to do the Epic of Epic Splits. And they're playing the same music they did when Jean-Claude Van Damme did it. Like, I mean, like the promo, the funny advertisements they were doing for this. And then, but yeah, 21 Jump Street, my number 6. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really good. I have number 6, The Avengers.
That's my number 2.
I don't know.
Actually my number 1.
If you're a Marvel fan, I don't know how you do not like this movie. It's kind of like your first big team up and everything.
They've been building up since 2008, so it was about 4 years in the making. Started with Iron Man.
Yeah, and it's just a fucking great movie. All come together and great dialogue between the cast. It's great. The one-liners, like him calling him Point Break,
because he looked like Point Break. You got a nice mean swing there, and then how that plays into later on in Ragnarok about how Thor's like to get into the Quinjet Point Break, and that's what it is. I mean, it's just the action sequences, like the whole New York sequence, them taking on the Chitauri, awesome,
Right.
like awesome.
Another thing though too, I mean, I love the comedic timing. I love does thou mother know that you wear
Your
thou
mother's
mother's
drapes.
drapes? I love that. I also like how Loki is telling Tony his greatest plan, and then Tony winds up and then after that he runs up responding, "Well, we got to help," and then
Boom, boom.
Many God. Like the Hulk sequence, like the Hulk was the highlight of this movie. The Hulk was awesome in this. Like, and then,
to be honest with you, this is probably whenever I first saw the special effects for the Hulk, I was like, yes, this is the Hulk that we've been trying to get. This is the special effects that we've been trying to get to. It just took the right studio to get to the look of the Hulk and get him to look right.
Like I remember, Sean, we did a very early employee sneak because my brother was in college when this came out, and he was about to see it before I do. And then I get it, like, then you messaged me, we're doing an employee sneak. So we did it the day before the movie came out. That was awesome. Like
perks of working at a movie theater.
I know.
Let's see. I actually saw the midnight showing of this movie. As a matter of fact, one of my friends called off of work at midnight, and we ended up going to see this movie. And then, of course, I had my friend Kevin holding the seat for us because at that time there was no reserved seatings at that time. So you actually had to get a friend that, luckily, he lived closer to the town that had the theater. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't care where. I said, look, we live about 45 minutes away. Your job is to hold that seat. And
on our way, man.
We're on our way. I was like, do Mission Impossible. I don't care what you do. You need to hold that seat. And we actually did. He actually held both seats.
Nice.
This was such a great movie. Like, action was great. The chemistry was great. It was the first big team up we've had that they've been building up to this. And then we got a first look at Thanos. Like, at the post-credit sequence, Thanos. Like, This is like, okay, they're building something. This is when Josh Whedon was actually happy doing stuff. And then he did the sequel, and the sequel was still entertaining, but it's like, come on, Josh Whedon, man.
It was the same concept as the first one, where they had to destroy something in order to save the world, rather than build something different.
Yeah, but I mean, this one was great. Action sequences are great. The Loki sequence with him getting smashed by the Hulk was great. Not to confuse anybody, there's two movies called The Avengers. You got this one, which is Marvel's The Avengers. Then you got the piece of shit that came out in 1998, The Avengers, based off the British TV series of the same name. I just watched that yesterday. It is awful.
It is. It really is, man.
It is.
I mean,
and it's like 1998. Yeah, I mean, like I said, my dad was like, I remember, like, I think it was like when I was a kid, my dad was excited to watch because he watched the TV series. And then we rented it from the library. And then he was watching it, and I think he either stopped halfway through it or I fell asleep. So I don't remember. I was young. So I saw, like, I didn't even know what the heck was happening. And I just watched it yesterday. I'm like, what the hell is this piece of garbage? And this was 1998, where he had two really bad adaptations.
Sean Connery's in it.
Yeah, Sean Connery's in it. Yeah, he's terrible in it. Like, he's beating up teddy bears. Like, what the hell? Like, and then, so you had this one, and then he had Batman and Robin came out in 1998. Both of them starred Uma Thurman. Not her fault. It's the script. Yeah, the one on Marvel is the one we're talking about. Marvel's The Avengers, not The Avengers, which is based on the British TV series. So there's a lot of confusion because they both have the same last name.
And get this, I remember I didn't feel like putting in my DVD, right? So I didn't even look at the info on DirecTV at the time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on ahead and watch The Avengers. It has been a while since I saw The Avengers. I want to watch The Avengers. It turned out it was the 1998 one. I'm like, nope, I already had it on VHS. I already taped over it.
Yes. What is this? No, this was too, like I said, everything was great about this movie. Like, casting, Loki getting beat up. I mean, Loki was a great villain for this. And then them fighting, the whole sequence of them fighting the Chitauri, that sequence was awesome. The action sequences and that. And then you have like, hey guys, I'm bringing the party to you. I don't want to call that a party. Like, I mean, Scarlett Johansson was great in this as Black Widow. Like,
let me tell you,
great.
Let me just tell you this: the opening for Black Widow for the introduction of her character was just awesome. When she's tied up to the chair, and then she's being interrogated, and Fury's on the phone, and she goes, "Hold on one second." Coulson. You see, that's why it's been a while. I haven't seen the movie in a while. So, anyways, I like how she just flips her chair backwards, and then she starts kicking his ass, and then Coulson's just listening on the phone and everything. And
it was,
and
she was in the dress too, because I remember I was sitting next to Jake Taylor and Tim, and we were watching this, and then I just heard Tim yell, "Jake, put down your boner." I heard them say that next to, like, while we were watching the sequence. Put down your boner. So I was listening to them, like, hear Tim say that while we were watching this movie. This is one of those great employee sneaks we got when we saw this. But
they were all great.
Yeah. But this is just a great movie. That's why I had it as my number 2. But one also is one of the trailers we had. It was for the third trailer for the Amazing Spider-Man, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I might see this movie now," because the trailer actually had me hyped. Great soundtrack. Yeah, and then I got to the movie. Yeah, no, and I'll talk about that when we get to our worst movies of 2010. Yeah. I think John.
Would you just want to go into your next one, Charlie? And then
I can. Yeah. The Avengers was my number 2, and my 5th movie I had on my list was the Mark Wahlberg comedy Ted.
Ted.
This movie's funny. Like I said, it just, like, once I heard about this movie, I was like, oh, hey John, sorry, we can go on to your next one now.
Okay.
I was about to go into my number 5.
It's okay, man. Thank you for holding the reins for a minute. So, anyways,
but I don't know if you heard, John, but I was telling Sean, like, while we were seeing at the employee sneak, I was sitting next to my buddy Tim and my other good friend Jake, and we were watching the sequence where Black Widow first showed up, and I was telling Sean what Tim told Jake is like, "Jake, put down your boner."
I don't know. I was still shell shocked. I was just drooling, and then our film messed up, so therefore they had to play that same scene again.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like,
I mean, this movie looks so good. Like I said, if you have a 4K player, I gotta watch this again in 4K. It looks so good in this. Like, the picture quality is so good. But Avengers, that was my number 2.
That was my number 1. So I'm gonna go with my number 6, which is one of my favorite movies. It also got dissed a lot. Whenever you look at the PR department, the difference screw the pooch on this. Yet again, another underrated movie, and it is John Carter.
I really like that too.
And Taylor Kitsch is in this movie. Taylor Kitsch is a great actor. As a matter of fact, I mentioned him the other night of actors that was on the list of people that was going to make it, but never actually made it to their full potential. And Taylor Kitsch is a great actor, but he was always underutilized for some of the stuff that he's been in. And, in
this movie, American Assassin.
Yeah.
Awesome villain in this movie.
But what I liked about John Carter, I get the fact that Star Wars and everything else, maybe people might have been fatigued over Star Wars during that time, because don't forget, we also had the prequels and everything else. So I'm not sure if maybe they were kind of fatigued over the Star Wars stuff, and they said, okay, we saw too much of this stuff out in outer space and everything, we're not interested. But it's also based off of a graphic novel with John Carter. But that would have been a cool movie to see that.
John Wick in space.
But, I definitely have to say, John Carter is a great original film, not an original film, but a great movie that's based off of a graphic novel. The special effects was really good. John Wick, why do I keep on saying John Wick? John Carter.
John Wick's a better movie.
Somewhere out there, Keanu Reeves is talking about me. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, John Carter is hands down one of the best movies when you actually look at graphic novels from screen to adaptation, aside from the Zack Snyder movie, The Watchmen. Yeah. Scott Pilgrim's another good one. But yeah, I have to say, I had a lot of fun with John Carter. John Carter's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen John Carter, make sure you check that one out.
Yeah, it's an awesome sci-fi adventure movie. Like, if that's your shtick, like, you love sci-fi movies, you love adventure action movies, it has it. Yeah, I really liked that movie when it came out, and I was surprised that everyone shitted on it. Like, I thought it was pretty good.
I think the PR department had a lot to do with it.
It's
too.
Disney again. The whole circle goes all the way back to Disney. It's Disney's fault on this one because they lost $200 million on this one, and then the other one.
It was a good movie. I don't know why people didn't like it.
I thought it was cool. Not on my list though, but I thought it was cool. But no, and then Disney screwed the pooch when it came to the Lone Ranger. God, that was terrible.
That was, and I remember actually seeing it at somebody else's house, and
I watched it in theaters.
I get this. I didn't see it in theaters, but I watched it on DVD, and I was miserable watching it then, and then I was miserable watching it at that person's house, and I'm like, and they're laughing at the scenes. I'm like, can I
like my dad loved this TV show, so he liked the movie. I didn't care for the movie. It's just another.
I like the TV show.
This is another $200 million bomb by Disney. They never learn. Okay, so my number 5 is practically the only movie left that hasn't been said on everybody else's list yet. My number 5 was the Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg comedy Ted. This movie was hilarious. I had a great time watching. This is a movie that doesn't get old. I've been watching it lately. It's on HBO. This movie's funny. Like this hearing the concept of it. A guy, like an adult person, hanging out with his teddy bear. And then seeing the reaction to it, like I think a lot of people's reaction to it, they say, this movie's hilarious. And I was like, wait, what? This movie's actually gotten good reviews. And yeah, critics loved it. It made $50 million opening weekend. Very rarely, I think at the time, not many hard R-rated movies get $50 million. And this one made a ton of money. This movie's hysterical. The banner between Mark Wahlberg and the fight scene in the bedroom at the hotel room where the teddy bear's beating the shit out of Mark Wahlberg. This movie is just hysterical. And then this movie also had another pet peeve of another person. So I remember working at Apex when we had this movie, and I'm seeing all these kids Dad, can we go see this movie? And in my head, I'm like, okay. Do you not see the beer bottles?
Isn't there a bong in the poster?
Yeah,
the first 5 minutes,
all white, you can see it, and there's an R rating on the freaking poster. So when my brother and I went on a Sunday to go see Ted, a family walks in on the opening sequence, and I'm like, and these are very little kids, maybe 2, maybe 3, and they're watching Ted. And it's the opening sequence where it's hey, let's go beat up the Jewish kid or whatever. It's beat up the Jewish kid on the holiday or whatever. It's just that random sequence of that. And then the scene, I've seen cast members from Family Guy in this movie. You have Meg herself, Mila Kunis was in this one, played the love interest. And then the movie still had cutaways. So it just felt like that. But this movie's hysterical. The Giovanni Ribisi character is the creepy guy. Him doing the creepy dance. I can watch. I forgot I think the songs "I Think We're Alone Now." I think that's the song. Him doing the erotic dance to that, and he's done that dance in all the other movies he's in. He did that in Million Ways to Die in the West. He did it in Ted 2. I mean, this like I said, I like this one so much better than Ted 2. Even though there's moments of Ted 2 I like, but Ryan Reynolds appearing in this movie was funny. Seeing Ted not him dressed up with a suit and tie. He goes, man, I look like Snuggles the accountant. Him going into the department store to get the grocery store job. Is so what do you what makes you qualified? Well, I had sex with your wife last night. You have guts. No one's ever talked to me. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure because I was pretty much stuffed with your wife's box or whatever. Just him bashing the wife, taking shots. You have guts here. You're hired. Fuck. It's he wanted to get out of the job so much, and then just the whole and then hanging out with Flash Gordon. It's hey, we need to do some cocaine. And then it's just, and then the movie had heart in it too, because you the ending, you felt bad because it was Ted, it's gone. Spoiler alert. But and then how they got him brought together is just, it was just great. It was just a funny movie. It's just, like, you can watch it and it never gets old. And then Patrick Warburton as his buddy. He's like, yo, I got totally shit faced last night. I woke up. I went to the bar and texted this guy to come over to my house and punch me in the face. He says okay, and then the next minute I know, I wake up with a black eye, and I text him back, thanks. Like it's all crappy, and then it's just like this movie's just funny. And then of course the cutaway of them cleaning the poop of the prostitute taking a shit in the apartment, and he's like, and the cutaway is like, and Mark Wahlberg's scared. I was like, oh my god, don't touch it, we're gonna have to burn the hand now. This is how scared it was, and then of course his ringtone for her was Darth Vader. Oh yeah, and then he mentions, oh yeah, it's a theme song from The Notebook.
Oh, yeah.
But,
this movie's great. Like, it's basically my number 5. It's just so funny. It's just one of those movies you just can watch. It's very raunchy, but then again, if you haven't seen Family Guy, then yeah. But it's just a teddy bear smoking pot, drinking beers, and then just cussing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just funny. It's my number 5.
okay.
Yeah, I really like this movie too. And I'm one of those people that, so like when Family Guy first came out, I really liked it when it came out on Fox, and then when it got canceled, I never went back to it. And then everyone, like, because no one really watched it, I guess, like when it first came out.
I didn't. Like, I didn't even know it was exist until I rented the DVDs from the library or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
so I watched it and I was like, man, this stuff is so funny. And then it left Fox, and then when it came back, everyone was saying how cool it was and how funny it was, and I was like, psh, I ain't gonna watch it anymore because
I liked it. I mean, I liked it. Like, I mean, I
really liked this movie. I didn't think I liked Seth MacFarlane as much, but I thought he was really funny.
I thought like the opening sequence of the Family Guy episode that got brought back. Peter's like, I got some bad news, guys. We've been canceled. And Lois is like, oh no. Like, yeah. So what did the network replace us with? Greg the Bunny. So Peter's naming off every show.
They got canceled,
and all of them got canceled. Yeah. And you guys, well, is there any hope? Well, if all these shows go down the toilet, then we have a chance. And that's exactly what happened to every single show he mentioned. Got canceled, and that's how they got brought back. But
back in my day, like Fox used to have like was it? I don't know. It was like Animation Sunday or whatever.
Yeah,
so
Animation Nomination. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7:00 Futurama, 7:30 was King of the Hill, 8:00 was The Simpsons, and 8:30 was Family Guy.
Nice.
So from 7 to 9, I was watching adult cartoons, I guess.
But the thing that I really liked was whenever they're sitting down on the couch and they're talking about girls with Boston accents. It's like, have you ever had sex with a girl with a Boston accent? It's like, oh yeah, yes. And then also too, I like the Liam Neeson scene where
that was the sequel.
Oh yeah, that's the sequel. Okay,
yeah.
For some reason I thought that was in the first.
Yeah,
one.
Liam Neeson. He showed up in the sequel. It was after he did Seth MacFarlane's.
Okay.
Tom Brady in the first one.
What?
Tom Brady in the first one.
Second one.
That's when they go. Yeah, it was when they try to go steal his sperm. Yeah. They talk about Tom Brady in this one, like they said, like I said, he's the only guy, like the New York Jets quarterback, to go in and be Flash Gordon. Who could do that? Tom Brady. Tom Brady could do that. Like, I mean, yeah, Tom Brady, like he showed up in the sequel. So a lot of that stuff, like Liam Neeson, that was the sequel. That was when Amanda Seyfried was in it.
But another thing though too that I liked though was because now I'm gonna go have sex on the produce. And everything too. That was actually funny. A lot of the stuff that you mentioned, Charlie, was actually really stand out and really funny and really original with all the bits that they've done. And then I have fun with it.
I missed was when the kid's like, "You're not gonna take my teddy bear," and Mark Wahlberg just flat out sucker punched. Somebody should have Joan Crawford that kid. Or when he calls the cops, "Quick! Somebody stole my teddy bear." They hung up, and then this him joke, and then the Patrick Stewart is the voice, the narrator, and the kid found a personal trainer, lost the weight, and now he's known as Taylor Lautner. I just remember the kid where he sucker punches the kid in the face, and she's like, "Oh my god, what? Somebody said Joan Crawford that kid." This is a funny movie. It fit Mark Wahlberg because he's not known for being a comedy guy. Like, I didn't think it didn't seem to be that comedy until he did the other guys.
Right.
But he was just funny in Ted. Like it's just nice seeing him in that. He was just having fun with it, and that's the fun part about this movie. It's just everybody seems to have fun with it, and then it's just like,
Exactly.
and then it's just seeing the creepy the creepy kid, and he's like, wow, you don't have PlayStation? No, we don't have that. We have a horsey. And you see the kid's room is all messed. It's like all like demented. Yeah, it was great.
Let's see. That was 6 I had Avengers, 5 I had Skyfall. Number 4, I have The Place Beyond the Pines.
Oh, Gosling.
If you guys have seen that. Yes. So I have two of my crushes on guys is I like Ryan Gosling and I like guys with tattoos. So in this movie he was like totally decked out in like trashy tattoos. But essentially it's kind of it's almost like 2 movies. So like the first half is Ryan Gosling finding out this fling he had. He's like a daredevil for like a circus. He rides like a motorcycle in like a death circle. And the opening scene's really cool because it's all one shot and it just follows him sitting in his like trailer. He comes out, goes over to the motorcycle, the dirt bike, and then he gets in the bike and then goes into the circle with like 2 other guys and whatever. So it's like him, and he finds out that this girl that he hooked up with, like, I don't know, like a year back, was pregnant and had a kid. And then now he's trying to figure out, he wants to be in this kid's life, but she's kind of already moved on and didn't really expect him to do anything. So he ends up getting a job as like a mechanic, but then starts robbing banks. So the first half of the movie is him trying to find money and rob banks. And then something happens to him halfway through. And he's involved with a cop, which is Bradley Cooper's character. So then the next half of the movie is essentially Bradley Cooper dealing with what happened with him and Ryan Gosling and then their kids growing up together. So Ryan Gosling's kid they didn't really have any involvement with is hanging out with Bradley Cooper's kid. I can't remember if they're friends. But yeah, it's really good. It's definitely a weird movie and it's really long. It's like, I think 2.5 hours almost. I know it's over 2 hours. But like especially the first half, I guess just because I like Ryan Gosling, like I went because it's on Peacock now, which you can watch it for free. And I was just like, I was just gonna watch clips of it. I ended up watching the entire like first half of it with Ryan Gosling just because I like him so much. And but yeah, it's really good. It's a good like kind of thriller. It's a slow burner, but it has good acting. I think the director's kind of weird. Like I know he did like Blue Valentine, which I really liked, but I know that's kind of like a super depressing movie. But
I remember watching it years ago. I liked the first half.
Yeah, the first half I think is definitely like the best part of the movie. It definitely kind of peters off after that.
The second half was like,
yeah.
I
think just because Ryan Gosling's so good in it, like I think he does a really good job acting in this movie.
He's a lot better in that than in The Notebook.
Yeah, that's true. but yeah, that's my number 4.
Okay, so my number 5 is actually, now it's rare that I watch musicals. It's rare that I watch a musical and liking it and everything else. So with that being said, Rock of Ages with Tom Cruise is probably one of my favorite movies.
And the girl from The Watchmen, I forget her name.
What, Malin Ackerman?
Yeah, she's in that.
Hold on.
She's like the reporter that interviews Tom Cruise.
Oh.
She has glasses, long curly hair.
I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it. It looked kind of dumb.
You don't like musicals?
I don't like musicals.
I think I saw Hairspray like 5 times in theaters.
Ugh. Why?
I saw it with like a bunch of different people every time.
It's all good. I mean, like I said, musicals weren't for me. Like watching them, I had to force I was not forced, but it's like in order to like I had to like they were a lot on our curriculum and a lot of the film classes. We had to watch quite a few musicals. I didn't care for them, but the one movie that made me hate musicals, and I think I mentioned it before, it's called Dancer in the Dark. It's Bjork. So if you don't like Bjork, then don't watch it because her voice is so.
Johns. Oh, nice.
Her voice is so excruciatingly bad. Like you hear it, I'm like, oh my god, shut up! Somebody punch. Like I'm gonna punch her in the face. Like she's so annoying. So anyway, Dancer in the Dark was like a musical mixed with LSD while on salvia. It's like a musical on drugs. It's an R-rated one, that deals with a lot. And John's still frozen. So we're about to get into our Rock of Ages.
Did you ever see Rock of Ages?
No, I have not.
It's really good. It's a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
A bunch of like classic rock hits.
I do have a musical that's not really a straight up musical, but a movie with music in it. That's in my no, it's an honorable mention that came out in 2012.
Well, you know, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
That was funny. Team America had music in it too, and Team America was just a great movie. Like, I mean, some of the songs on Team America, like Pearl Harbor sucked, but I missed you more. I mean, like that's pretty much the whole song is like talk about Michael Bay missed the mark when he made Pearl Harbor. They said Cuba Gooding Jr. deserved a bigger role in that movie. Ben Affleck sucked and he needed acting lessons after Pearl Harbor. So that's the whole, like you said, and then of course one of the greatest songs from it is America Fuck Yeah. I mean that's that like that. Yeah, it's Team America World Police is directed. It was by the guys in South Park against the Puppets.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's like I said, I mean, if you haven't seen Team America, watch it. It's so good. That one had music in it, but anyway, there was a movie that came out in 2012 with music in it, a lot of singing and stuff, and it's in my honorable mentions.
Well, do you have anything else on your list?
No, I think we pretty much nailed everything else. I had 4 was Dread, 3 was Skyfall, 2 was The Avengers, 1 was Django. I will mention the movie that's an honorable mention. Since John's not here, it's Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Yeah, it's musical.
With Anna Kendrick. That was I saw that when I was in college. That was I didn't think about it much, but that movie was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I saw.
Yeah, that's one of my honorable mentions, but I can get to that. I guess we can go on to what you had.
Number 3, I have Silver Linings Playbook.
Okay.
Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, Chris Tucker. Fucking great movie. Super funny.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Right. I had some technical issues, but I'm back.
Okay. You were talking about rock. Sorry, we're just talking about music.
Well, I think I broke the internet. It's like I said musicals, and all of a sudden my internet decided to go crazy. But Rock of Ages is probably one of my favorite musicals on everything from 2012. Especially the part where Charlie saw the clip that I sent him, the clip that I really liked, is where Tom Cruise is being interviewed by one of the reporters, and basically they start singing I Want to Know What Love Is, and then of course that's when she breaks into a song and they wind up doing it on the pool table and everything. That scene was very exotic and very, let's just say that song that
Charlie had to hide his boner at that one.
No, I was pointing out the movie that I think for me that had the best sequence of I Want to Know What Love Is was from The Hitman's Bodyguard. The sequence where you see Ryan Reynolds meets the FBI agent, the Electra, when he meets her at this funeral for this guy, then this is played in the background. I thought that was the perfect use of that song because it's so funny.
But yeah, you're talking about that Whitney Houston song. No,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I Want to Know What Love Is. It's the sequence in the funeral while Ryan Reynolds is on duty there, because one of the clients he had died, and you see the Electra, the girl that was in this Hitman's Bodyguard, where she was on a sting. And then Ryan Reynolds dropped one of those hors d'oeuvre things, and it hit the guy, and the guy looked down his knee and he sees the girl, sees her with the gun, and they said it was a really bad operation, and then all shit hits the fan, they start shooting each other, and then that's when Ryan Reynolds literally bumped into her, and they played the song I Want to Know What Love Is. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, it was from
Here's the thing, though. I really love the 80s kind of style. I like listening to 80s music and stuff like that. I thought Rock of Ages captures the heart of the 80s era, especially Russell Brand inside the movie. And then, of course, you also have Alec Baldwin doing his thing as well. Yeah. So I definitely love this movie for what it is. I haven't seen it since 2012, believe it or not, but I remember playing it all the time and just liking it for what it is. Definitely has Journey on there, Don't Stop Believing, I Want to Know What Love Is, of course. Then the whole entire soundtrack is just great. So if you're into soundtracks, if you're into Tom Cruise singing and things like that, I strongly recommend watching Rock of Ages. Unlike Charlie, who is soulless, so
it doesn't matter.
Oh, I definitely have a soul, just not for that movie. I just don't like musicals.
Right. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's really good. If you like rock, like 80s rock, check it out.
Yep. So okay. So what do we have next?
So I'm done pretty much since everybody said all my stuff earlier. Four was Dread for me. 3 was Skyfall. 2 was The Avengers. 1 was Django. So I'm pretty much done until we do honorable mentions in the next show.
Okay.
So my number 3, I had Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, nice.
David O. Russell, director. Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Tucker, Robert De Niro. I'm sure I'm missing other people in it, but really good.
Jackie Weaver might have been in it.
It's about Bradley Cooper's character is trying to get over. He just comes out of the mental institution because he walked in on his wife hooking up with another dude. He's bipolar and he's still in love with her. And he's kind of trying to come to terms with he wants to be better for himself so he can get back with her. But then he meets Jennifer Lawrence's character and they work a deal to where they learn how to dance and whatever. Right. They hit it off.
And here's the thing. Sorry. Go ahead.
So it's really good acting. Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar for it. And so I was telling you guys earlier. So there's a thing I do. When I've had too much to drink. This was kind of embarrassing, but that's what I do. So I'll have too much to drink, and what I like to do is there's movies I watch certain clips on, and I have them on demand. So I'm just I'll flip through them. So there's the opening scene in Logan. Like I'm drunk, I really like to watch that. Like where he's fighting the guys trying to take his limo. Yeah. So I watch that. I watch the beginning of Mad Max when he hears like the voices in his head, like Max, are you there? Like hello, like that. And then where he fights Furiosa for the first time when he's chained to the other guy. So I'll watch those 2 scenes from Mad Max, and then I will switch over to Silver Linings Playbook and watch the scene where Bradley Cooper chases after Jennifer Lawrence's character in the end and essentially confesses his love to her as she's reading.
I think I know the story.
So Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar for Best Actress, and I seriously believe the scene to where she reads Bradley Cooper that letter, her facial expressions, how she reads the letter, I think that's what won her that Oscar. If you rewatch that scene, the acting in it is fucking phenomenal. Like it's just so good. And I'll get drunk and I'll just watch that scene and then I'll pause it. I'll rewind it 30 seconds, rewatch it. And I'll do it like 4 or 5 times to the point like Melissa just looks at me and she's like, what is wrong with you? This is it. It's like, this is where she won the Oscar, was this scene right here. But,
you're like Charlie Day, the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is it.
Yeah. I had this movie as an honorable mention. Like I can go into that, but I think I love Jennifer Lawrence in this movie. She was great. Then again, I was, as Tim would like, or as Maria would say, Charlie was just in love with Jennifer Lawrence. So it's like, yeah, I mean, she was great in this movie.
Who is it?
And the other thing I love about this movie is a lot of, like I said, you can see in my background, I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagle fan. And this movie revolved around the Philadelphia Eagles. And I knew exactly what year this was during the movie because I knew what it is because this is the first year of the description. Robert De Niro's like, it was such a bonehead. He dropped the ball at the 1-yard line. I knew what that was because that was our wide receiver, Deshaun Jackson. That was his rookie year, and we were facing the Dallas Cowboys that day and that night. And he ran and just threw the ball down at the 1-yard line right before he didn't even get in the end zone. That was the bone. And then Robert De Niro called him a bonehead. And then I knew, and then the bet was they had to get a certain score and the Eagles had to beat the Cowboys. The Eagles beat the Cowboys that day 44-6. That was the epic, like Eagles needed everything in their favor to get into the playoffs that year. They needed Tampa Bay to win. They needed Oakland to lose. They needed this, and this. And then the Eagles game was at 4:05 that day. And and this was Tony Romo still quarterback for the Dallas Felons, whatever. And the Cowboys got destroyed 44-6 that day. The Eagles crushed them. And that's how I knew what this year is because all the descriptions in the movie.
how you know you're a diehard Eagles fan.
Yes.
But yeah, that's why I liked about this movie so much. It was about that too. And then again, the performances were great. I like Bradley Cooper; he's great in this. Lawrence again was great, and then Chris Tucker was good in this too. It seems like Bradley Cooper seems to be reviving the careers of like he did it for Chris Tucker. He showed up in a drama with Bradley Cooper, and then he got some little bit of like limelight. Did the same thing to Dave Chappelle in A Star Is Born. Dave Chappelle briefly showed up in A Star Is Born, and he brought Dave Chappelle back, and Dave Chappelle is great. It's just nice seeing him back, and that. So he showed up. So it's just the irony of Bradley Cooper working with that, and then again, this is when Jennifer Lawrence will start getting her niche with David O. Russell, because after she did this with him, they did American Hustle, then they did Joy, which I thought Joy was a decent movie. I saw it with my mom. It was an entertaining movie. I mean, again, it's based on the true story, but it's like you hated that family, but that's just their niche. But no, I can go in more when we get into like the honorable mentions for why Silver Linings that. But I just remember I'm a diehard Eagle fan, so that's why I just like this movie a lot more, because I knew the Eagles. They followed the Eagles, and I knew exactly what year that was. I believe that was 2008.
Okay. And I actually like this movie. I saw this movie last year for the first time on Netflix. So I ended up enjoying this movie a lot. I definitely love the dramatic aspect of it. Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper both have that energy level where you actually feel like that they have something for each other and things like that. De Niro calling his own son a moron for doing the things that he was doing and stuff like that, going to his ex-wife's school and things like that. I thought this film was really good. I enjoyed it. I think I watched it again recently, and I still love this movie for what it is. It's just a great film.
The chemistry, the two of them, Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence, had a better chemistry than Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams in The Notebook.
What?
Come at
me. You can find me on Twitter at Cartman the Fat 36. I can go all day long.
That's what she said. So anyways, Perks of Being a Wallflower is my number 3. This is my last movie on my list. This is
my number 1. That's my last one.
This is my favorite coming of age film. This is back. Matter of fact, this thing is actually set in the 80s or maybe 90s. So this is why we don't see smartphones. This is why we don't see any type of technology whatsoever. I love the fact that, Charlie is actually learning how to adapt into a new life and into school after what happens. And also, too, I love how, there's a little bit of light in between nothing, and nothing pretty much gives them hope. And then you also have the love interest of Kristen Stewart in this movie, too, that I really...
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
Kristen Stewart in this movie would suck.
Twilight.
No, but Emma Watson is probably the standout in this film, though, too, to be honest with you. And this is also what made me feel like that she can do acting outside of Harry Potter. And, she gives Charlie hope. Her and Nothing are both great characters, to be honest with you. They're both misfits. They're both trying to fit into a society that doesn't really want them. They're wallflowers. They are nothing. And then also, too, I love Paul Rudd in this movie as the teacher. And he questions the teacher of why his sister is falling in love with this douchebag that doesn't even care for her. He goes, it's the love that we accept and that we think that we deserve. And I love that quote. That quote is one of my favorite things that Paul Rudd says. It's the most real thing. This movie actually feels real, to be honest with you. It's probably the most real and honest film that you can actually get when you look into a coming-of-age film. But yeah, it's one of my favorite films. I actually have the digital copy of it on my on Apple right now too, so I can actually go back and watch it anytime I want. But yeah, Perks of Wallflower is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
I mean it's fitting that that they're all like trying to blend in, because you got a demigod, a witch, and the Flash. I mean, Percy Jackson, a witch, Hermione, in the Flash. I mean,
I didn't know he was the Flash.
Yeah,
brother.
Ezra Miller.
And now that you said it, I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just remember him as the creepy teenager in Trainwreck, where like he's like Amy Schumer is like really drunk, so she's hooking up with him, and then he's asking her like call me daddy, like and then she actually has sex, like she tries to, and then she smacks him because she asked him to. She starts crying, and he's crying, Mom. He's like, he's only 14. That's how I remember him now, like as Trainwreck. Unfortunately, it's not the Flash anymore. It's from that's his scene in Trainwreck because Amy Schumer is so drunk.
This was not my number one movie. I actually like just saw this within the past year. I remember when it first came out, like all the buzz behind it, like, oh man, this movie is so good. Like it was just, I think it got nominated for a bunch of stuff. I don't know if it won anything. Not 100% on that, but and then I guess like a little over a year ago, again, I was having some late night beverages, and I think I just finished Sweet Home on Netflix, and I was waiting for Melissa to get home. She was working like a late shift, so I think it was like maybe like 12:30 or something, or like around midnight, and I was just like, I saw it on. I had like a glass of whiskey, and I was just like, I watched like the first 10 minutes of this. I've always wanted to see it, and I watched the entire thing. Like,
it's that good.
It was that good. It pulled me in. Like you said, it's like I wasn't really. I was picked on a little bit in high school, but I was kind of just like that person that I was there. Like I knew people, but I was never like popular or anything. I was just like this kind of outsider kid or whatever, and it just like it was super relatable. I thought how it dealt with depression is like spot on. Like to where it's essentially like him just going through memories like super fast and then just repeats and repeats and repeats. I thought it handled that really well. I thought it captured it really well.
Check this out, because I mean, I was pretty much, high school was no fun for me. I was bullied, and then my senior year, like I was just the kid that pays attention and stuff, and all the kids felt like voting me teacher's pet, and just because of all the kids, and they said, "Well, you are," and like I said, I mean, that hurt me because I'm like, I'm not trying to be the teacher's pet. I'm taking this stuff seriously, and like you guys are. Right. And then like I guess bullied, all that stuff. So I mean, I might have to watch it because it probably relates to me, because high school was no fun. Like for me, like school in general wasn't fun because every year I was getting picked on or bullied because I wasn't as strong as them, or wasn't as wasn't like them, not popular enough. So it's just yeah.
Same here as well for me. I mean, this movie represents me and who I am because I did get picked on a lot. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from, Charlie, on that one, because they're like,
which is why I relate it more to the A Walk to Remember a lot more than like that one. I relate more to that because that it hit close to home,
right?
And yeah, so maybe I'll check this out whenever I'm like got some I got so much to watch though.
I think it's on Amazon Prime still. It's either on Amazon Prime or Netflix. I don't know.
Right. I think it's on Prime though. I think it's still on Prime.
Is it? Okay. Because I know I watched it that night, and then I guess like a few weeks later, Melissa really wanted to watch it, so I rewatched it again, and it was just as good the second time. Right. So.
I was at work when I saw this, so yeah.
That's like pretty cool. Like Sean Cole watches movies at work. I'm pretty sure like all the time. That's how he's able to see so much stuff.
Yeah, basically, I was done with all my stuff I had to do. So the only thing I had to do was just check on my stuff, making sure that everything was done. But I had a buddy of mine in the X-ray department and everything, and him and I was watching the movie. And of course, we were watching it for Emma Watson. But still,
our buddy Cole, like he watches stuff like 8 times. I mean, he was able to watch like just as like 8 times in 1 week. I'm like, and obviously because he's been watching a lot of stuff at work, and I think he watched Con like 8 times already, and it's just like,
he's watching at his house. I don't
know. He's watching so much stuff, like the same thing over again, and I'm like, I can't do that. I got to watch something new.
Right. So, is there anything else that you guys want to catch up on, or anything like that, as far as the best movies, or is that everything that's on?
That's all I had in my That's all I had in my top 10. I have a lot more for honorable mentions that I can get into when we get into the next show. But man, we can pretty much talk about everything I have on my list pretty early.
Yeah, we kind of pretty much opened up all your own presents, so sorry about that.
Pretty much.
So anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you again for coming on the show and everything. Of course, you guys are great every single time when we do this. I do have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier after show coming up on 8 o'clock tomorrow night Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. Go ahead. Yeah, this is yes.
Like we got 2 episodes left. This is one of the final ones, and it's everybody keeps hyping this up as the penultimate episode. This is the episode. So I'm like, all right, bring it on. Let's go.
Exactly. And then also too, on Saturday, I'm actually gonna be on Schmoes, the Schmoes of the North channel at 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific Time, talking about Mount Schmoedown. Schmoedown is the movie trivia Schmoedown. If you're into movie trivia in the format of WWE, go ahead and check that out. And that's exactly what we cover. Also, too, at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, I'll have independent director Crichton Hobbs on the show. We're going to be talking about what it's like to actually date someone that's actually creative. So, and how to handle them creatively. So, that's what we're going to be doing coming up on the show Saturday night. Sunday night, I don't know what we have planned yet, but stay tuned for more announcements as time goes on. Okay, so if you guys want to, you guys don't have to, but if you guys choose to donate to the show, how do you do that? You just go to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And then, of course, you guys can go to www.movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and wants. Of course, you can follow me on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. Underneath the same brand on Pinterest and also on Instagram as well. You guys can also follow me at Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter and underneath the same name on Stereo as well. And, of course, John DeGorio 8 on Twitter as well. And then also too, if you guys want to get in touch with me, how do you do that? You just go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And those are all the places that you can reach us at. That's all the places that you can follow us at. Go on ahead, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also too, guys, if you guys can, go on ahead, click near the little bell on the bottom of the screen, because this is actually how you actually figure out that we're on. You actually get notifications to let you know that we're on and getting ready to come on. So hit that little button on the right-hand side on that little bell to give you that notification that we're online and we're doing a stream. So always until next time, guys, it's been real fun. I can't wait to do this again. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Rossi, for joining us. Thank you, everyone that was in the live chat. I do appreciate it. Always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
See ya.